Yo, what the hell is up? What's going on? Thank y'all for tuning in to another DnL&x Fitness live stream show. It's your boy DnL&x Fitness. We is getting it in today for another live stream. Been out for a few days, but we did the whole Father's Day and all this other stuff going on, and the hell of a weekend and all that goodness, and school officially in as far as like summer school goes and all that good stuff. So had to play catch up, had to reorganize some things, but other than that, we still good, man. So hopefully everybody's having a good day, man. We got a good show lined up for you today. Hopefully everybody's doing good. Hopefully having a good day at work and all that good stuff. But if you're not, Mr. Chow is going to break it down to you.
Oh, you're having a bad day? Did you die?
I got shot.
But did you die?
And as long as you didn't die and you are still alive and still here and still able to make something good about yourself and get up and get out and get something and push through these tough times in this tough economy and not stress out, but poke your chest out and keep on grinding and keep on pushing, because hell, what else is there to do? So let's go. Be grateful. We are today multi-streaming, like always, on 5 different platforms: YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, and Facebook. If you're on YouTube, do your boy a favor. Whenever you see that thumbs up that's going to pop up on your screen, I think it's on this side or this side, whichever way is going to happen, bam, that right there. Do your boy a favor and go ahead and hit that like button and get the algorithm up, and let me get my multi-chat so I can see the chats on the screen. And if you want to contribute to today's show, Cash App at Venmo, Cash App Daniel2888, Venmo Danny-Daniel-00. Let your voice be heard. Support the one-man bandstand show that we got going on here. That's it for the intro. Let's go ahead and get into today's show. Today's show, I have a video, and I always like to, keep things on a certain topic. We always got to stay focused on the fitness, and we also got to stay focused on the philosophy and the mindset that one must have to progress forward in this life. Because boy, are we at an inflection point like you ain't ever seen in your life. This is crazy. And you can touch on this on many different topics. Like I said, I've talked, I did a show with Michio Kushi, and I did the Hopi prophecy, and you can even throw the Bible in there if you want to. They're all saying the same thing at this inflection point that we are having, and there's 2 paths that you can go on. And right now it's looking like the 2 paths to go through is either you want to go through the super AI technology route, or you want to keep a balance and stick with nature and give back to Mother Earth and still follow the old ways, the old teaching, because that's the way that's going to prevail longevity when it's all said and done. But today's video, man, we got a video about Korean gender wars out of control, and we're going to look into this and see how this is going. I thought it was a really interesting video. This is going to be by Dr. Jonathan Tam. Shout out to Dr. Jonathan Tam. Go check out his channel and all this and all that good stuff, man. He actually does some really good videos. So I want to go ahead and do this video. We're going to react to this video and watch this, because there's a lot of striking similarities that's going on over there that's happening here. And then you're going to realize it's happening worldwide because, well, there's a whole common enemy by the name of, it's described as feminism, but in reality, when you look at how it moves and how it operates, it's really Satanism. Yeah, it's really Satanism in a nutshell, bro. That's just what it is. It's just good old Satan out here, just smacking these women and some of these men in the head, you know what I mean, hitting them with all sorts of unnatural beliefs and making people go against their, well, not making them do anything. You always have a choice. Giving people the illusion of going against nature is a good idea, and doing things this new modern way is gonna work and all this stuff. In the meantime, in the background, old Satan just sitting there like, cause he know your ass is finna get to lay a smack down. And once he gets you right where he wants you, just when you think you got all the materials and greatness that you got in your life, he gonna look at you and be like, you better. And it's checkmate at that point. Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and dive into this video because it's a really interesting video. Let me make sure I got this right before we get started, because I don't want them to hit me with an ad as soon as I start this bad boy, which they probably will. So we'll get that taken care of first. So we're going to look at this Korean gender war and see how out of control it is, and see how much striking similarities that it has going into, or how it compares to other places that are going around the world. What is going on with my thing? What's on my YouTube? Uh-oh, they screwed me over. Oh man, I gotta fix it. Oh, there it goes, it got fixed. Okay, cool. We good? We Gucci? All right, we good. So we're gonna go ahead and go from this video from the top and look at the gender war that's going on, and we're gonna compare it, and also just look at how the mindset works, and compare it to the philosophy that I always preach to you, which is stay fit, take care of yourself, stay healthy. New fitness video dropping tomorrow, by the way. Just take care of yourself, stay fit, stay healthy, exercise, work out, you know, eat a good diet, take care of your physique, you know, stretch, get good mobility, all that stuff. Just fitness is the way, because what you put in your mouth is highly important. What you eat, that's the whole key to everything. They tell you about fasting, they tell you about praying, they tell you about meditation, but what are you eating? And are you moving and keeping yourself nimble and constantly learning? And then the philosophy that you go on with it is you realize is that everything's been preached the same way over and over and over a time. It's two ways to go. You can go the way of man, or you can go the way of nature. Pick one. That's your choice. Man is going in the AI technology realm, which according to the Hopi prophecy is going to meet an inevitable abrupt end. And in the laws of nature, as long as you stay the course, you can even yin and yang, you know, the AI with the laws of nature to use it to give back and contribute to Mother Earth, and, you know, grow your own food and go down the path of planting a seed. If you got the seed of Adam in as a man in your ball sack, you need to be planting them seeds. You know what I mean? You need to go ahead and plant them seeds and bear good fruit. You know what I mean? So the second coming can do what it got to do. You feel me? So you understand that the teaching and the philosophy and understanding how to navigate through a world of materialism and hedonism and all that stuff. So you have to understand and try to figure out exactly, not really figure, that's not hard to figure out, but just understand the philosophy and understand how things are going to move and how things are going. And you can see it as clear as day. It's not hard to see. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, you know, when we look at the story of Adam and Eve, and my thesis, my hypothesis on this, because I had thought about this real quick, was like, I was like, dang, you know, Adam and Eve got tripped up by a serpent, but the serpent punishment was to crawl on his belly. That means he was walking. So if homie was walking, was he a reptilian? If he was a reptilian, was the apple a metaphor for having sex with Eve? And then she went back to Adam, and once she got piped down by the lizard, she was like, you know, seducing Adam. So, you know, Adam fell, you know, victim to the, you know, he fell victim to the almighty vagina. So he clapped Eve. The next thing you know, realize he's naked, comes back, God gives him this punishment, but his punishment was to suffer all through his days until his dying day, to work and struggle. But ironically, her punishment at that particular time was to have terrible labor pains. Why would it be, ironically, you have labor pains at that point in time? Then they leave, get kicked out the garden. I don't know exactly if there's a timeline that we got when Cain was born, but I will say this. There's probably a high probability that Adam would have probably needed to get a DNA test on Cain, because then came Abel. And after Abel came, you start to think they had completely two different ways of thinking. It's almost like Cain had a reptilian way of thinking, and Abel had a Adam way of thinking. So then Cain kills Abel, and then have the nerve to be like, am I my brother's keeper? Like, nigga. So then we get Seth after Abel, and Seth is good and righteous and all that stuff, but Cain still got this reptilian mindset. It's like, your daddy got to be different. Like, your seed is different inside of you. Your bloodline ain't the same, Cain. But Adam and Seth were a different breed than Cain. And then if you ever just took some time in your life to study the story of Cain and his bloodline that was cursed, you realize that his bloodline was very smart, very intelligent, extremely tech savvy, had great civilization, but bloodline was cursed because, I mean, they had that reptilian, I'm just talking. Anyway, but we're going to go ahead and dive into this video. So let's go ahead and hop into this. Shout out to Dr. Jonathan Tam. Is it Tam or Tom? Tam, T-A-M, Dr. Jonathan Tam. fair use on this one. We're going to go ahead and check this video out. So let's go ahead and get this video started. So here we go. Oh man, I'm going to have him a PhD in sociology, University of Oxford. Shout out to Dr. Tam. All right.
War is out of control. Just look at their politics. In the June 2025 presidential election, roughly 3 in 4 young men voted conservative. About 3 in 5 young women voted progressive. That's nearly a 40-point gap. Likely one of the...
All right, look at that. Sheesh. Look at that right there. So the men went conservative, the women went progressive. They went modern. All right, so this is a good understanding right here. Right here. All right, so we got conservative mindset on the men, progressive mindset on the women, which I would say, is this a... How could I say this? Could we say that this could potentially, this could look like, hypothetically, this could kind of look like, this would kind of resemble the mindset of like, maybe like the woman's womb, of where the brain of the child is going to be headed. But then again, this conservative stuff could be a fallacy as well, because a lot of times people lie and pretend that they're one way, but then they'll get into the office and vote the other way. People will pretend that they're conservative, but then have then change while they get in there to get to their blue narrative to mess up the... Anyway, let's keep going.
Widest gender voting splits on record. And this isn't just Korea. In the US, a 30-point gap opened up in 6 years. Same for Germany and the UK.
It says 6 years? What?
Gap opened up and this isn't just Korea. In the US, a 30-point gap opened up in 6 years.
A 30-point gap opened in 6 years. How ironic. What happened in 6 years? I don't know if he's doing this according to starting at 2025 or he's starting at 2026. If he's starting at 2025, six years from that is 2019, right before the pandemic. 2026, then it's 2020, right on top of the pandemic. So as they were saying, the new normal, they wasn't lying. So having the gender divide, which he spoke about when I did the video on the Hopi prophecy, Hopi prophecy spoke about this gender. He said if the man and the woman, if these two genders, if the masculine and feminine, if they go against each other, he says it's going to be bad. We're going to be in trouble. So this just shows you that the Hopi prophecy has a very, 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 very good point to prove, or not prove, but a very good message to give when it speaks on trying to stick to the laws of nature as we go on, and understanding that the trajectory of I guess you could say the material world versus the natural world, how the material world is going to take off in a trajectory going up, but meet an impending end. And if you could stick to nature and plan and, be self-sustaining and self-governed, then the laws of nature, you'll be good and life will continue on. It's almost like a repeated process that happens over and over. And Michio Kushi, hopefully I'm saying his name right, spoke on this too, but he spoke on eating a natural and a healthy diet as well. But he also spoke about AI as well. He spoke this back in the 80s. I remember watching his lectures. He even mentioned, people are going to go into the AI technology stuff, and people were laughing at him in his lectures if you go watch it. So just watching how things split off, and just see that how much they're trying to divide the man and woman from coming together and being at one with nature, with each other, because you destroy the family unit, then you destroy everything else. You know what I mean? You completely get rid of the seed that man needs to prevail, because you want to bear good fruit leading forward, because the material world doesn't want nothing to do with the natural world. All the data centers and stuff, they use a lot of water and stuff like that. So it's draining the resources out of the natural world and also destroying the family unit at the same time. But you need that seed to prevail through all this. Even if you look at the story of the Bible, the seed of good, the seed of Adam, the seed of good was always like outnumbered. That's the best way to say it. It's always outnumbered. The seed of good, the seed of righteousness, the seed of virtue is always outnumbered. There's always more bad surrounding the good. Even to the point where Satan even took Jesus up on a mountain, was like, I give you this if you bow down to me. You know what I mean? So it's the same story. It's just like, are you going to stick to that straight and narrow path? But let's continue. This just shows you how hard the straight and narrow path is. But let's keep going.
Same for Germany and the UK. But Korea is where it went furthest, and the pattern is everywhere. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly why Korea is a preview of what's coming for the West. They call it Songbyo Cheongchang, the gender war.
But winter is coming.
I spent months digging into Korean government data, national surveys, and thousands of posts across Korean forums and social media. In the next few minutes, I'll explain why both sides think they're the ones getting punished. And there's one country with the exact same economics with no gender war at all.
I'm curious as to what that one society is. What society is that has no gender war? We're going to find out, but we got the breaking point. A generation opting out. Sounds familiar? Here we go.
Let me show you how bad things have gotten. Korean marriages dropped by half in under 30 years. From about 435,000 couples in 1996.
Think safety.
Oh no, they hit me with an ad, did me dirty, but that's okay. We're going to keep pushing. So as we see, a generation opting out, which we're seeing as a generation's opting out simply because of pricing, because of inflation, because of things are too expensive. They see it as too hard to raise a child. They see that now we have this equality stuff with the women making as much as the men. So therefore, the hypergamy kicks in, so it's kind of like hard to get the two on the same page. And then the younger generation, the children, their education system is being dumbed down, so they're not as smart as they used to be. They're making the kids dumber as they go in. And now college, you go into college, but the kids are coming out of college with not a very good understanding of like social life, social skills, and like virtue and morality. Like what's his name? The KGB officer, I always talk about him. Yuri Benzmendzakov. I butchered his name, but that guy, he spoke on the demoralization of a country. He said you could do it in like 2 decades. And he said it way back in like the 80s and 70s that the U.S. was already on that path of demoralization. And when you can demoralize a country and get rid of the morals and do that through the school system and education, it's a wrap. It's over. It's done. So seeing a generation opt out where one is still trying to keep a moral virtue or some kind of morality with the family unit and trying to go the straight and narrow path, but the other one is like, no, I need materials, I need survival. It's like a low frequency vibration when one is always like, I need materials, I need survival, I need safety, that's like fear and survival and stress and worry. And the other one's like, we can do this together. We just put our resources together. It's gonna be struggle, it's gonna be strife. But the other one was like, I don't want to struggle, I don't want to stress. So therefore they're going to put their trust in whoever has all the resources, which at the end of the day, if you understand any story that has to deal with life, or, you know, movies that preach stories of life, like a lot of these demons got the money. They not all demons, but a lot of demons got a lot of bread, got a lot of money. So therefore women just are going to go into that safety. But in the long run, we see how that plays out. Anyway, let's keep going. Here we go.
From about 400, Korean marriages dropped by half in under 30 years. From about 435,000 couples in 1996 to around 220,000 in 2024. An average first marriage age jumped several years in a single generation. So women now marry around 34, men around 32. And Korea's total fertility rate hit 0.72 in 2023, less than 1 child per woman, and the lowest on the planet. And if you're thinking, well, maybe they're just having kids without getting married. Nope. Fewer than 1 in 20 Korean babies are born outside marriage, the lowest in the OECD by far. So when marriages collapse, births collapse with them. One reason people aren't getting married is because of the ongoing gender war. About 3 in 5 Koreans say that the gender conflict is serious. Among 18 to 29-year-olds, that rises to 3 in 4.
Golly. Wait. Let's hear the numbers again.
Gender war. About 3 in 5 Koreans say that the gender conflict is serious.
So all Koreans say it's serious, but then when you go age specific, which is literally, he's going to hit you with the marriage age. So like the marriage age where people should be getting married is like 19 to 29 or 18 to 30 or whatever the case may be. It goes up to 75%. That is brutal. That is 3 out of every 4 people.
Among 18 to 29-year-olds, that rises to 3 in 4, the highest rate of any country surveyed. 25.
But it just proves the point, though. It proves the point that walking the straight and narrow path. It's almost like it checks out when you look at ancient texts and any biblical text you want to look at, whether you believe in any of that stuff or not. It always lets you know that the path, the straight and narrow path, it will be hard as hell to walk, and not many will go through with it. So this just proved it, and this is just in Korea. So, you know, like he's saying this is going to hit the West, which I agree. It already has. So when you look at this, it does check out when you can understand like the straight and narrow path of doing things the right way and trying to come together as one, as a unit with man and woman, and produce good seeds and go through the whole things of marriage and all that good stuff, and produce kids and have grandchildren, all that, and have land and grow your own food and be successful. It's a hard path to do, and this is just showing you, in the world is just doing what the world is supposed to do, but it's a cycle, you know what I mean, and a choice.
5 points above the global average. Men point to mandatory military service, a brutal job market, and a housing system that expects them to front deposits most of them will never afford. Women point to the worst earnings gap in a developed world, careers that flatline the moment they have a child, and a digital environment where deepfake porn of classmates get treated like a joke. Both sides have the data, and I'll get into all of that.
Wait, what? He said watching addicted. Wait a minute. Let me hear him say. He said porn is like where they look at porn as a joke. Hold on.
Women point to the worst earnings gap in a developed world, careers that flatline the moment they have a child, and a digital environment where deepfake porn of classmates get treated like a joke.
Oh, deep fake porn. Okay, he said deep fake. And then it says right here, watching your own Smegs videos, they wrote, tell me you honestly enjoy this. So deeming you're vulgar as a text from an anonymous messenger who sent their images. Isn't it funny watching your own videos? Okay. So these are deep. Okay, so he's saying these are these are fakes. I guess AI face imposing you on a prawn video.
Joke. Both sides have the data, and I'll get into all of that. But let's start at the story's beginning, because the resentment didn't start with economics, it started on Korea's 4chan.
All right, blame the machine, spy cams, deep fakes, and the digital war. He said it started on Korea's 4chan? On 4chan? I think he said 4chan. Maybe he said 4chan or 4chan, but let's see what we got here. So I would say it's partially economics, and the other part is demoralization inside the colleges, because we see that they have all these gender warring topics that people go to in college that people believe in wholeheartedly, and some of it can be truthful, but it's not helping the cause of nature. It's causing a divide in nature. So I would say it's economics and the stuff that they're teaching in college, like gender studies or African American studies and stuff like that, which, yeah, that's a story for another day.
This gender war story escalated over 15 years, and it helps to see the full timeline because both sides were responding to the same broken system.
With TST.
Oh my goodness, this man's making a killing. He's just running through. Shout out to Dr. Tam. But yes, we are going to see how this pans out. So here we go. I got it right back up. Sorry about that. I need to get my YouTube premium running. I'm tripping.
Opposite ends. And the politician who wrote this anger to the presidency, he's now serving a life sentence. I'll get to that. It started with a forum called Ilbe around 2010. Think of it like Korea's version of early 4chan, a place for young men to vent about losing 2 years of their prime to mandatory military service while the job market got worse. And the economic pain was real. Korean men died by suicide at more than double the rate of women, over 10,000 men in 2024 alone. I talk in depth about Korea's crazy suicide rate here, so check it out if you're interested. Another major grievance is about 7 in 10 men call mandatory service unfair, because the hit is estimated to be up to 1/10 of their lifetime income. And the employment situation is rough too, with fewer than half of young Koreans having jobs. On top of that, Korea just expanded its foreign worker quota close to 200,000, concentrated in sectors young men typically enter post-military. From the men's perspective, cheap migrant labor adds insult to injury for their post-military sacrifice. Just look at some of the comments pulled here.
Most companies won't hire you if you're not done with your military service. Men holding off service until the age cutoff is only for those in the entertainment industry, where being young is important. The majority of normal civilians get done as soon as possible. It's basically a prison. Not a bad experience, honestly, for myself, but it still feels like a waste of time. Nightmare. Wasted my youth on BS. For us, we usually finish military duty when we are in the university, but when we are in job, it's different on the company. But for public workers like teachers or cops, firefighters, they go back to their work. So they said they get 1/10 of their income in the military that they would get in their lifetime. So this mandatory military service that they have in South Korea is brutal. Then they come out to another workforce that's just like, I mean, I did all that for what? Just for you to just enslave me? Even that's crazy. But if you think about this, if you look at this in a sense, where it seems like when the civilization goes way more modern, way more progressive, where it puts the foot on the back of men's necks, and then it forces women into a stressful situation of survival, which then at some point women are going to probably turn back to the old profession just to survive. I mean, hell, they're doing it by choice here in America now. It's a choice that they get to choose to do because the money looks so good on social media. But when you look at the long view of it, if you're a winner at the top, at the end of the day, you really don't need it, really, just in a whole global aspect. If we just had a world full of women, you don't need that many men to repopulate the earth. You really don't. And then you can dominate to make sure that your seed is the prevailing seed, especially if you look at it from a perspective of if you're trying to keep a forever situation going on by controlling the bloodline that you want to remain supreme and dominant throughout forever or eternity. Because, you know, when you look at the stories of like a Hopi prophecy or a Michio Kushi or the Matrix or the Bible, it's all about like a bloodline that has to make it through to basically bring back peace to a chaotic society when it gets too out of hand. And it seems like the chaos tries to dominate the bloodlines as we go along, which then in case if you see more men getting shunned and then women are slightly getting pedestalized, but at the same time still kept just at above a level above to where the men at the top can, you know, throw out some, you know, some funds to them to make them feel, you know, like daddy is taking care of them, then it makes sense, because then you can control the bloodline, which the man carries the seed. The man carries the seed of the bloodline, kind of like what I was explaining to you earlier with Cain and Abel, or then after Abel, Cain and Seth. If you understand what I'm saying when I say this. But anyway, let's keep going.
So inside the forum, some of that resentment turned deeply toxic. But for a few years, it was mostly contained to the message boards. And then, women built a weapon specifically designed to enrage every man on those forums. In 2015, a counter forum called Megalia decided to poke the bear. They emerged as the radical feminist counter.
Uh-oh, there it is. There it is. The feminist counter, the Satanism, dun dun dun, has entered the chat. Let's see how this goes.
Driving a tactic called mirroring. Taking the same language men were using on Ilbe, and flipping the genders right back at them as deliberate provocation. In
Deliberate provocation. Just call it penis envy.
May 2016, a man murdered a woman near Gangnam Station, exit 10. He told police he did it out of deep hatred towards women. He hid in a public bathroom, let 6 men walk by, and waited for the first woman who entered. And this led...
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to call you, I'm going to call it like I see it. That right there, I'm going to call that what we just heard, where the guy is, oh, my hatred towards women. That is called a sleeper cell, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first. That is a sleeper cell. That is a sleeper cell. They planted that sleeper cell agent in there to fulfill that mission. And once that mission was passed, he was an angry guy who hated women, and the reason why he did it is because he hated women so much, so he hid in the bathroom and stuff, which he probably really did these things. He probably did commit these crimes for real. I'm not saying that he didn't, so rest in peace to the people that lost their lives and the families and all that stuff. But that's a sleeper cell agent, bro. That, or that's a shapeshifter reptilian in here fulfilling, controlling the narrative of things. Because, in this crazy world we live in, to push a narrative, to push a story, either it could be 100% fake, or hey, it's okay. Some people got to die in order for us to get this point across. So I'm going to call that a sleeper cell agent. But let's keep going.
To mass feminist mobilize and waited for the first woman who entered. And this led to mass feminist mobilization, like vigils and protests. And the digital war just kept escalating. But the Gangnam murder was one man. What came next was systemic. In 2018 came the Mocha epidemic, which stood for More Camera, literally secret camera. Tiny hidden cameras planted in public toilets, changing rooms, and motels. And there was no criminal syndicate behind it.
You see that? Because the sleeper cell agent went inside and hid in women's bathrooms because he had a deep hatred for women. So now they got a reason to protect these scared ass women from the big bad sleeper cell man. So now the very thing that women don't like is putting freaking cameras in the bathroom and by the toilet. So now they're like, well, hey, we don't want a big bad man to come in here and do this again now, do we? Let's protect you ladies, okay? We're going to go ahead and stick some cameras in there so no more big bad men can come in and shank you up. That'll be a bad thing. You see, cause and effect, this is how I look at it. Because I think like an evil person. If you was evil and you want to do world domination and control the narrative and control the world, it's not hard to do. It's simple. As long as you're willing to take a life and you have no regards for anything other than fulfilling your agenda. Nothing stands in your way. Not God, not Jesus, not Buddha, not Krishna, not Allah, nobody. If you got that mindset in you and like I can get this done, then it's not hard to think of. Just think like an evil person. It's simple. It's simple. It's not hard, especially when you got, all these technologies at your fingertips to utilize and all that stuff. Like, it's not hard to see. It's not hard to see. You can see it clear as day. There's no way that coincidentally that situation happens, and then out of that situation a year later or something, now it's like we need to start putting devices here and here and here and here in private places and bathrooms and stuff like that. That is crazy, but cause and effect. Let's go.
The cameras were planted by ordinary men, like motel owners, store clerks, ex-boyfriends who uploaded the footage. For years, police dragged their feet. They claimed that the servers were too hard to track, and they told victims that they were overreacting. And because the penalties were light, most men just paid a small fine and walked. Police treated spy cam reports like annoying paperwork. Morka felt like a traffic ticket. Then, in May 2018, a woman did a reverse gender mocha and secretly filmed a male nude model and posted the photo online. Suddenly, the system worked. Police tracked her down, arrested her in days, and paraded her in front of the media. The system moved at light speed to protect a male victim. The hypocrisy broke the dam. Tens of thousands of women flooded Haehwa Station in some of the biggest women-only protests.
Wait, what'd that say? Innocent if you have a Johnson, guilty if you don't. See, they play, it's like you're playing right into the system. Like y'all are fighting each other, but you're fighting each other against a system who wants you to fight against each other. At one point, if y'all would just if you would just turn it off and just be like, look, like this is all staged and made of, we're all like cattle, like sheep and stuff, like being manipulated to do these things and coerced, and they got nothing but time. They'll let things play out for 1, 2, 3, 4 years and turn around and be like, okay, pull a rug pull. Like look at this. This is crazy. This is crazy. Innocent if you have a Johnson, guilty if you don't. This is wild. And it's like you're going and arguing up against the same system. The system's gonna do what the system is gonna do. It's gonna do what it's gonna do. You can't fight the system. And that's what Jesus is trying to teach you in the Bible. You can't fight the system. That's the Hopi prophecy said. You can't fight the system. They're gonna do what they gonna do. You need to know, are you gonna stick to the original teachings that you were giving? Just stick to the original teachings. Stick to your original teachings, the best of your capabilities, but also have discernment. Don't be foolish enough to fall for the clown show that they got going on. But I digress.
The women flooded Haehwa Station in some of the biggest women-only protests Korea had ever seen. Their signs read, "My life is not your porn."
My life is not your porn. Well, maybe in Korea it's not, but over here in America, yeah, it is. Yes, your life is my porn, because you put it out there for me to see and watch, and you monetize it. So therefore, what am I supposed? If you don't want me to watch it, you know what I mean? Like, why you put it out there? You put it out there to make money off of it. So maybe in Korea, my life is not your porn in Korea, but in America, like this sign does not stand a chance. If this sign comes to America, oh, the internet's gonna have a field day over here, boy. They're gonna be like, really, like, come on, son.
It makes zero sense to date a man when there was a chance he was trading secret videos of you online. Then came the nth room scandal. Over 250,000 accounts accessed chat rooms where women...
See, and that statement he just made is polar opposite in here in America. Listen to that statement.
Porn. It makes zero sense to date a man when there was a chance he was trading secret videos of you online.
And now in America, we have the complete opposite statement. It's as you just flip that statement completely, and that's what we have here in America. It's completely opposite. It's crazy.
Then came the nth room scandal. Over 250,000 accounts accessed chat rooms where women and underage girls were being extorted, tortured, and sexually exploited. Premium access was sold for cryptocurrency. And by 2024, the deepfake porn crisis exploded. AI-generated fake porn of classmates, teachers, female soldiers, mostly made by teenage boys. Over 3,000 digital sex crime cases in a single year. 9 out of 10 victims are teenagers or young women. At every juncture, Korean feminists pushed back, and some of the activism made progress. Soranet, a major revenge porn site, got shut down. Spycam enforcement expanded, and deepfakes were criminalized in September.
Spycam enforcement expanded. Exactly. That's exactly what... Spycam enforcement expanded. Tell me that is not the perfect recipe to implement your surveillance state or society without forcefully implementing it. They bring it on themselves. Like, perfect. Like, this is working playbook by, but the system is doing a phenomenal job. I'm not in agreement with it. I'm saying, look at what's going on. Like, look at what's going on. Like, they're wanting these surveillance. You're not forcing it on them. Y'all's like, y'all asked for it, so like, hey, we gave it to you. What you want us to do? I mean, I didn't do it. You guys put it there. You asked for it, so we gave you more.
Spycam enforcement expanded, and deepfakes were criminalized in September 2024. and a National Center for Digital Sexual Crime Response launched in April 2025. But none of it cooled the war, because both sides were responding to the same broken system.
Oh, there goes Mr. Reptilian Serpent right there. He's already crawling on his belly. He's already crawling on his belly. He already, he was walking on two legs. He already done clapped Eve's cheeks. Let's see. It says unpaid labor, spy cam, deepfake threat, cliff, wage gap, same system, and then it has privilege framing, and I can't read the rest of these blurry things. But the man once again is trying to save the woman. But how the hell did she get here?
And neither could see the other's pain clearly.
Okay, here we go. Military service, job losses, deposit expectations, privilege framing. But we just don't know how she got here. Like, did you jump off this cliff? Like, trying to gain the analogy of this photo. But it's interesting. They got a whole damn boulder on his back. So she can't. Well, she should be able to see this big boulder. But if she can't, then he can't see the snake from right underneath her that's trying to bite her. Interesting.
Data backs this up. Polling shows a majority of young Korean men describe themselves as anti-losing, not anti-women. They lose 2 years to mandatory service. They return to a job market that got worse while they were gone. They face a housing system that expects them to front massive deposits. And they face a public conversation that frames their structural pain as privilege.
I feel like I'm stuck with no way out. I think the biggest problem is that there are not enough jobs compared to the number of job seekers.
Many men still felt they were trying to uphold their end of the Confucian bargain. He provides, and she manages the home. But many feel that women were no longer playing by the same rules.
Those are rules. I don't even think we're still supposed to be friends.
Korean women in the 4B movement describe opting out of dating, marriage, and childbirth as a structural response. The trap being career cliffs, the second shift, and housing costs that require a partner to clear. More women than men hold degrees now. More than 3 in 4 women versus about 3 in 5 in men. A reversal from barely 20 years ago. Despite the credentials, the earnings gap didn't reverse. Korean women face over 3 times the housework as men, a career cliff the moment they have a child.
Housework. I mean, good Lord, housework. This housework shit is crazy. Women face 3 hours more housework than men. It's like, look, pick your slave. Pick your slave. You're going to be a slave for your husband, or you're going to be a slave to the corporate world. Pick a slave, and you're going to pick one either way it goes, whether you like it or not. And yes, I'm not saying one person has to do all of the housework. I mean, you can minimize it completely by just cleaning up after yourself. I mean, things will pile up, like laundry will pile up, dishes, but when you make it a pet peeve, a situation where it angers you because the other person didn't do the dishes this time and all that, you're digging your own grave and you're destroying your own family. And the only way to get out of all this is what they're talking about, because he mentioned it, of what's going on between the two genders fighting each other. The only way out of all this, how he was speaking on the service member of the Koreans going into the military service, coming out, not enough jobs, and the women opting out of dating and kids and all everything that the women are doing with the 4B movement over there on that side, and the same thing that's happening with the men on the other side. The only thing that will solve it is to come together. That's the only thing that's going to solve it. Go back to the old ways. Everything that is keeping you separate, and the more separate you get, the more the snake or the boa constrictor just tightens his grip around you and just squeezes the life out of both of you, because you won't come together. You won't come together, and you won't follow the rules that are put in place for each gender to live a successful and harmonious life and future together. It's like a sports team. It's like football. You got a quarterback. On offense, there's a quarterback. First, there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 5 linemen. Quarterback, running back, fullback. And then you got maybe, let's see, you got 1, 2, 3 then you got 3 more receivers. So we'll say you got 3 receivers, right? So that's 11 on the field on offense. They all have a role. The lineman is supposed to protect the quarterback in a pass, and then the linemen are also supposed to set up certain blocks for a run play for the running back or fullback. And then the quarterback, he's supposed to pass the ball to whoever is open, depending on what play they're doing. Everybody has a role. Sometimes the running back and the fullback are running the ball. Sometimes the running back and fullback are catching the ball as receivers. Sometimes the running back and the fullback are blocking for the quarterback. Everybody has a different role. Sometimes the receivers are blockers for the running back. Sometimes the receivers are, catchers for the quarterback. It's everybody got different roles, and they're going to fulfill a common agenda, which is to score a touchdown every time they're on offense. Flip on the other side, the defense. You got 4 or 5 linemen. You got 2, 3 linebackers, depending on what it is. You got the cornerbacks for that go up against the receivers, and you got the defensive backs, which is your safeties. They all got different roles. And once you know your role, you play your role to do what? To get the ball back from the opposing team. And you work on that the entire game. Some games are going to be better than others. Some years are going to be better than others. But you keep doing that because you're a team. The linebacker don't change and say, screw this, I'm playing lineman today. The linebacker don't change his position and say, I'm going to be a cornerback. Sometimes he will have to play cornerback, but he doesn't take on the cornerback's role as in stand over there and be a cornerback, but he will play a cornerback type position if somebody runs across his zone, or if he has to man up against the running back when he runs out and does a swing pass or like a screen pass on the outside. He's still somewhat doing what a cornerback does, but majority of the time he's a linebacker covering the middle section of the field. You have to play your role, and they trick people out of these roles. Women especially, they're tricking them out of this role. And they're tricking them out of this role, but it's still a choice. Women are not victims. This is a choice that they're making. You are not a victim. This is a choice that you're making. So they're tricking, well, they're not tricking, but the women are choosing, and you're fighting against the man, but both of y'all are fighting in the system that is harming you both. And it's going on all over. It's happening. He's saying it's going on in South Korea, and he said it's coming to the West, which you can see it and you can understand it when you look at the internet and how things are going. But it's sad. It's really sad. And the only way to get rid of this is just to get back to nature. Know what your roles are. Know what your roles are and play them. Play your roles. Once you play your roles, is it going to be hard? Hell yeah, it's going to be hard. But figure out how to play your roles and what works for you when you play your roles. And focus on what works for you. Don't focus on what the outside world is telling you on what you should always do, because it is not a one size fit all. However, for a structure and a family unit and longevity and to better society, in a sense, it kind of is. In a sense. Anyway, that's my rant. Let's keep going.
And the constant statistical threat of going viral on deepfake revenge tube. Trusting a partner had become a massive gamble. Go on any Reddit or Korean forum right now, and you can scroll through thousands of women saying the exact same thing. They're not getting married. They're just going to travel and build their careers. When everyone's got proof that they're getting cheated, compromise starts to feel like surrender. Both sides showed their receipts, and both sets are real. But politicians looked at this firestorm and saw opportunity.
Exactly. Like I said, and that was a very, very big thing he said. He said, compromise feels like surrender. Yo, let me give Dr. Tam let me give you a round of applause on that one, sir. Compromise feels like surrender is like a death blow towards nature. Think about that. Compromise sounds like surrender in a form of like dating and relationships and marriage, or I should say just marriage in this case for society. Compromise feels like surrender. That is a death blow to nature. When men and women look at compromising as, that's brutal. That is a brutal. That is a very deep statement he made. That was a deep statement. Compromise feels like surrender. What are you giving up? I mean, you are giving up. I'll take that back. You are giving up a lot, but at the same time, this is what you're giving up. When you compromise and you feel like you're surrendering to the old ways of teaching that better society in the long run that bucks the system. That's what you're giving up. You're giving up contributing to a satanic system. Yes, so compromising will feel like surrendering because you're surrendering to a satanic system that doesn't want you to walk in the ways of nature. That's why it feels that way. That's exactly what it feels like. That was a good one. Shout out to me for that one.
Angry young men were a highly motivated voting bloc. They just needed a champion.
All right, the political fracture and the 40-point divide that broke a government. Interesting. All right, where we at?
In 2022, Yoon Suk-yeol gave them that champion. Think of him like Korea's Trump, a political outsider who built his base on young male grievance. He ran for president.
All right, so we got Korea's Trump in our building, y'all. I didn't know we had a Korea's Trump. Bro got on the same color outfit and everything. I didn't know Korea had a Trump. This is crazy. All right, let's see what we got here. His tie ain't as red, so I give him that. His tie's not as red, but I see what they saying. So here we go.
Who built his base on young male grievance. He ran for president on an explicitly anti-feminist platform. He went on record stating that structural gender discrimination no longer exists in South Korea. His flagship promise was abolishing the Ministry of Gender Equality entirely because it's no longer needed. And it worked. He captured nearly 3 in 5 young male voters and won by the narrowest margin in Korean history. He corralled the male anger and locked the divide straight into government policy. But the whiplash was brutal.
He locked the divide right into government policy. Good Lord. Not into government policy. Oh my Lord. I was almost happy until he said he locked the divide right into government policy. And before I even could say it out loud, sorry, I got something in my eye. Before I could even say it out loud, he took the words out of my mouth because I was thinking like, well, what is the ripple effect of this gonna be? And Dr. Tam was already on it. He already said it. Listen,
the divide straight into government policy, but the whiplash was brutal.
Exactly. I was like, what's the ripple effect? Well, the whiplash was brutal.
Because in December 2024, the man young Korean men elected as their champion did something no Korean president had ever done in over 40 years. He declared martial law over what he called an opposition threat to national security. The National Assembly overturned it in 6 hours. On December 14, he was impeached, 204 to 85. Even members of his own party voted to remove him.
Hey, okay. Well, good job, Korea. Good job. Good job. I was worried there for a second. I was like, no, not martial law. He got away with it, but y'all stood together and stood strong. All right, cool. Good job. But damn, to call him the Korean Trump and to kind of see that, I don't know, I hope that don't happen over here because damn.
The Constitutional Court upheld it in April 2025, and on February 19th, 2026, he got a life sentence for insurrection. His defense minister got 30 years. But the snap election that followed told the real story.
아니, 진짜...
The progressive Lee Jae-myung won by a margin of roughly 8 points overall, but the gender divide inside the youth vote was closer to 40 points. Let's just look at the two sides. The conservative coalition says, abolish the gender ministry, prioritize merit, and fix the economy. The progressive coalition says, expand parental leave, build housing, strengthen protections, and more foreign workers to prop up the economy.
Bruh, Bruh, what do you not see? Expand parental leave. Okay, I can agree with that one. I can agree with that one. Build housing. You got to be careful with words. What do you mean by housing? Government housing? Because they'll put your ass in a housing, all right. Because right now we got modern ghettos being put up left and right. They look good right now, but you gonna wait till 20, 30 years go by. These little modern, nice, what do you want to call it? Like Foxwood floors and the nice little looking modern overhead light fixtures and the new countertops and all that. Yeah, ghettos 20, 30 years, bro. It's gonna be the new modern ghetto. Strengthening protections. That is very broad. I mean, this just, and then foreign workers to prop up the economy, bruh. The foreign workers ain't finna assimilate, bruh. The Islamists are gonna come in and smack y'all over the head. Oh my god, this leaves for a outside force to come and invade your country, and the government will be in on the money that they're gonna make when they communize your country. Now over here, abolish the gender ministry. I don't know what the ministry meant, but I guess whatever. Prioritize merit and fix the economy. This is what everybody wants. Everybody wants the economy to be fixed. I don't, you know what I mean? Prioritize merit. That's good. Abolish the gender ministry. I guess the gender mix up or whatever. I'm not sure. I missed out on that one. So yeah, I mean this is the problem with this progressive coalition. It sounds good if you think of it in a positive way. It does. This sounds really good if you think of it in a positive way, but ain't shit positive. Everything is negative. And this is what I try to tell you. It's like, do this, but focus on your family structure. That's the main thing that you have to do. And it's not easy. It's not an easy task to do. I mean, expand the parental leave. You just have to have a business of your own and just try to find a way to incorporate your family into your business. Because if you're expanding parental leave, then that means that you're depending on, the government job to do what they want you to do. But the government jobs have done nothing but prove that they care about their margins more than they do humans or people, whatever you want to call it. But I digress. Let's keep going.
Both platforms respond to real structural problems experienced by their voters. Lee won partly because the conservative vote split. The young men were divided between a mainstream conservative and a harder right reform candidate, not because they changed their minds. In a moment politicians turned that rage into votes, attitudes hardened in both directions, and we could see it in the surveys. Men as breadwinners jumped from about 1 in 5 to 1 in 3 in a single year. Women should do housework, more than doubled, from 1 in 8 to 1 in 4. Every major policy Korea needs to address, from housing, defense, immigration, demographics, runs into the gender war before it even gets a hearing. So now you've seen the war. Both sides' pain is real and the politics locked it in. But the war runs on fuel, and that fuel is economics, starting with the one thing that broke the first promise of partnership.
Yes, sir. Economics is the gasoline that fuels it. When nobody feels financially good, then you just look at the other party and it's just like, it's going to be hard. It's just going to be hard when finances is good, because then it just keeps you in a low frequency state of survival, stress, fear, anxiety, and all these things. So, and women don't like to be in survival mode. They don't like to be in stress and fear. And I mean, they fear 24/7, 365. So that's always a low frequency state that they're always in. And then they're going to, then you add that to the economy of things going up. And then on top of that, social media and what you choose to consume and how it'll just constantly like browbeat you over and over and over, depending on what you choose to consume. It gets rough. The housing trap. How the rental market killed dating. Sheesh.
It's a heart-stop.
Oh man, we're about to see the next one coming up. Let me see. Let me get this going. All right, so how the housing market killed dating. This is going to be interesting because we're seeing this now in America. We're seeing it now, but let's see how they look at it and how Dr. Tam puts this together when it comes to Korea. So let's see how this goes. So here we go. Let's go ahead and run this.
Korea has a rental system called the chonse. Instead of paying monthly rent, you hand the landlord a massive lump sum deposit, 50 to 80% of the apartment's market value. The landlord invests that money, earns the interest, and returns the deposit when you leave. It's essentially an interest-free loan from you to your landlord for 2 years.
Bruh. I don't agree with that one. I don't agree with that. A lump sum deposit, 50 to 80% of property value. And then he gets to take it and invest. Wait, what does he do with the investment? Let me just make sure I get this right.
Landlord invests that money, earns the interest, and returns the deposit when you leave.
Earns the interest and returns the deposit. So you get your money back. I just needed that money to make me an investment. Yeah, get into real estate. Get you some real estate. Get you some real estate pronto. This playbook right here, they're giving you money to dump into the markets, and as soon as you get up, you're gonna turn around and hand them exactly what they gave you back. No interest on top of what they gave you. Just give them back what they. Boy, that is. Become a landlord. That's all that tells me. Get in this position so you can be in this position. If this is the wave that's gonna come over to the West, yeah, bruh, get you home.
It's essentially an interest-free loan from you to your landlord for 2 years. The average Seoul apartment chonse deposit now runs around 670 million won, roughly $480,000 USD. That's just to rent. A young Korean worker earning around $30,000 a year would need over a decade of entire pre-tax salary just for the deposit. Buying is even more out of reach. And the system is riddled with fraud. Over 11,000 confirmed cases in a single year. Over 30,000 victims. Basically, you hand the landlord almost $500,000. They promise to give every won back in 2 years. But many are already in deep debt. Pay their own bills, buy more apartments, YOLO into the stock market, or meme coins. Some rent the same apartment to multiple people at once and then ghost. And developers do the same thing with pre-construction buildings. They collect deposits for apartments that aren't even built yet, and then the project fails and they disappear with the money. And when your 2 years are up, your life savings have evaporated. When it comes to gender, the chonse deposit is still the man's responsibility. That cultural expectation never got updated. You come out of the military, you start earning, and you do the math. A decade of your entire salary just to rent a place. So dating goes beyond romance. It's a financial stress test. You know it, and so does she. And since employment is rough and pay is low, about 1 in 20 young adults between 19 and 34 live in Goshiwon. Tiny rooms with shared bathrooms, barely big enough.
Dang, look at that. 1 in 20. 1 in 20 from the ages 19 to 34 live in this. This is almost like that Black Mirror episode, 14 Million Merits, where they stayed in that little square room and all 4 corners was a TV screen. This is like literally like driving you to that point right there. This is a prison cell. Literally, this is a prison cell. I mean, there's no closet.
For a bed and a desk. We're talking working adults, men and women with college degrees and office jobs, living in boxes because the alternative costs $500,000. You go to work in a suit because the
Bro, that's a prison. That is a prison. There's no other way to that is a prison. Look at this. This is a prison. That's a prison. College degree, Get you a prison? Like, bruh, that's brutal.
Alternative costs $500,000. You go to work in a suit, and you come home to a room where you can touch both walls with your arms.
Look at this. This is everything. No closet, a bookshelf, your bed under your bookshelf. Like, this is a microwave. But this is literally a prison cell. Like, look at the lights. I mean, you got an old tube. He got the old school TV too, by the way. That's not a flat screen. That's an old school TV. This is brutal. This is brutal. Yeah, this is crazy, yo.
Stretched out. But housing traps women differently. She'll chip in, but the deposit stays in his name. So if the marriage fails, that money's gone. In practice, many women end up at their parents' house or in a tiny room. So a lot of women stay in marriages they're unhappy in because leaving means financial disaster. He can't form a household on a single income at sole prices. She can't exit a bad marriage without losing housing stability. But housing isn't the only trap. There's one built in the Korean language itself, and it quietly kills women's career before they even get to a decision about having kids.
The motherhood cliff, the hidden penalty of having a child. Woo-wee! I guess in America, we can flip that around. the fatherhood cliff. Wow, this is interesting. I mean, I guess, of course, women will say the same thing. It goes both ways. But yeah, let's see how this looks. All right. I mean, Korea's got some eerie similarities to America. I'll say that much. And to look at how America's going is... I mean, you can see it happening at a point in time, and he's saying that this is the blueprint for the West. So let's see how this goes. Here we go.
Korea's age hierarchy is ruthless, and its honorifics lock it in place. You can't avoid it.
They got me again with another ad. Dang it, dang it, dang it. That's crazy. Well, so let's see what this motherhood cliff is talking about. This is really interesting. This is a good video. I was really intrigued by watching this video when I saw it the other day. I didn't even get to finish the whole thing though. But so the motherhood cliff in Seoul, Korea. So right now, what we see is gender war gap, but staying in a relationship or staying in a marriage, a woman gets financially ruined. Then the man already has a hard time trying to support a marriage on a Korean salary. So it's like doomed to fail to begin with. So they penalize you for being in love. That's why it takes a community to make this thing work. Not just one or two people. It takes a whole community of people. It takes a whole group, you know what I mean? Family. I mean, honestly, it takes a group of families to make this work because, you know, when you look at like the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers or the whatever those big family names are, you realize that they do it as a family. You know what I mean? Like a group of families, like 12 families, 20 families, 30 families. It's the families that put themselves together and then rise above everything. And that's what it takes, is really what it takes. But let's keep going. Here we go.
Every relationship in Korea has its own language, based on age. When I was a teacher there, orientation taught us that when new Korean students enter a classroom, the first thing they figure out is everyone's age, because they need to know what honorific to use. A workplace is no different. A younger male boss can't comfortably call an older female colleague Nuna. It sounds like a little brother asking for an allowance. But barking Kim Dae-nim, which stands for Assistant Manager Kim, at a woman who used to help him with his spreadsheets, that feels stiff and unnatural. And if you're not Korean, this probably sounds like a minor social headache, but it's not. In Korean workplaces, the wrong honorific in the wrong meeting can tank a promotion decision. This single linguistic trap quietly pushes women out of the promotion track in their mid-30s. And the economics make sure they arrive at that cliff right on schedule. Raising a child in Korea costs about 1.1 million won per month, over $800, covering daycare, food, clothing, and education. Even before factoring subsidies, that pushes child rearing costs close to nearly a fifth of typical household income. Nearly all fathers keep working after having a kid. In comparison, only about 2 in 3 mothers do. The Korea Development Institute found mothers face nearly a 45-point employment drop in the decade after childbirth. If you saw my Japan video here, you know about the M-shaped career curve. Women's employment drops at childbirth, then partially recovers. Korea's version is closer to her taking an L. She drops off, and the Nuna trap makes sure she never comes back. And career cliffs is where the 31% wage gap actually comes from. It's structural, and is not a paycheck-by-paycheck issue. A woman often drops to part-time to manage childcare. It's a rational family decision. She already earns less, so her income barely covers daycare anyway. But it's not just the kids. In Korea, the heavy burden of caring for aging parents and in-laws still falls overwhelmingly on women. More than 6 in 10 informal elder care duties land on daughters and daughters-in-law. So she's raising the next generation while also looking after the previous one. And her husband just keeps climbing. Say she tries to come back in her mid-40s. She walks into a second trap. And this one has a name. In Korean, she's an ajumma. If you watch K-dramas, you'll understand the connotations of that title. Now she's clearly older than her bosses, and they treat her like an office auntie. Polite on the outside, but promotions and real responsibilities go elsewhere. She handles the emotional labor and the quiet tasks, while the young guys climb. And 20 years later, she has 12 years of seniority. He has 20, and it's a completely different trajectory. Surveys say about 2 in 5 women who leave the workforce after childbirth cite child rearing as the reason. But when daycare costs more than your post-cliff salary, preference is just math. The government knows.
I mean, that is by design. That is for sure by design, because daycare is expensive as hell. Daycare is super expensive. It is not a cheap endeavor. Daycare is super expensive. It's like an extra $1,000 to $1,500 a month. Or hell, maybe like $500 to $800 a week. If I'm not mistaken, daycare is expensive. It's expensive, so it's designed to destroy the family unit. It's perfectly. The system is doing what it does. It's perfectly doing what it does. It's doing what it's supposed to do. It's designed to destroy the family unit. But you got to choose to stay together. But you got to have a plan, man. You got to come at this with a strategic plan and stick to it. That's just really what this boils down to. Let's keep going.
Knows this. So they've spent over $250 billion since 2006 trying to fix it. That's more than New Zealand's entire GDP spent on getting people to have babies. And look at the result. They tried cash bonuses for having kids, childcare subsidies, and parental leave expansion. And to be fair, about 1 in 3 fathers now take paternity leave, a record high. But look at the actual result. The fertility rate hit 0.72 in 2023. Late 2025 data puts it on track for roughly 0.85, which would be the fastest rise in 18 years. Well, let's put 0.85 in perspective. The replacement rate to keep a stable population is 2.1. And the US is panicking over a birth rate of 1.6. Japan is calling the demographic collapse a national emergency at 1.15. Cash can't fix a structural trap, and it's deeper than Korea. Research found that when women enter an occupation in large numbers, wages drop for everyone in it. Men's wages fall about 8%, and women's fall even further. Two incomes become...
Wait a minute. We got to run that back. Wait a minute.
Structural trap, and it's deeper than Korea. Research found that when women enter an occupation in large numbers, wages drop for everyone in it. Men's wages fall about 8%, and women's fall even further. Two income...
That's in the two income trap. See what happens when you don't play your role and you deviate from nature. Women have a role. I'm not saying they can't work. Everybody has to work. You don't escape work, but it's a going into the corporate work is not it's all about entrepreneurship and starting your own business. That's what it's about. And then helping whoever's business is booming, enhancing that person and finding areas to make that person's business better, to push the business to make it thrive forward, to work on that business as a unit, to drive it like a unit, like a car, then a train, then a plane, then then a rocket and a spaceship to make it take off type ideology. But that's crazy work. Let's hear that again.
Enter an occupational trap, and it's deeper than Korea. Research found that when women enter an occupation in large numbers, wages drop for everyone in it. Men's wages fall about 8%, and women's fall even further. Two incomes become necessary precisely because two incomes became normal. The floor moved. So when you hear about Korea's 4B movement, 비연애, no dating, 비섹스, no sex, 비혼, no marriage, 비초선, no childbirth, understand what it actually is. This is the nuclear option. Women looked at the gender war, the housing trap, the motherhood cliff, ran the numbers, and said, hard pass. They're not just opting out of marriage. They're opting out of the entire script that says their body, their career, and their unpaid labor are national resources to be managed with cash and guilt trips. And the moment they started walking away, a lot of men responded with pure rage. You're the problem. The gender war went from cold resentment to mutually assured destruction in the marriage market. However, the survey data tells a different story from the loudest voices online. A 2025 government survey found that nearly 3 in 5 unmarried women aged 25 to 49 actually intend to marry, up almost 10 points from the year before. 4B is the loudest response in the flame wars on forums like DC Inside and the Q, but it's fringe, and frankly, it's sensationalism for the Western audience. When housing costs a decade of your salary, childcare consumes a fifth of your income, and having a child permanently damages your career, opting out of a partnership is the rational move, but Korea isn't alone in this trap. Every major economy in East Asia is running the same experiment. The difference is what happens when the results come in.
That's a brutal one. But man, this is play by play, textbook by textbook to destroy the natural tendencies for men and women to get together and better a society. Only thing that's benefiting immensely from all this is government and corporation. It's the only thing that's benefiting immensely from all this.
These countries share sky-high housing, brutal work culture, and births and free countries. These countries share sky-high housing, brutal work culture, and births and free fall. But the pressure produces 3 completely different responses. Japan is the clearest.
Yikes. All right, so this is Korea and the pattern and the Korea and the canary or something like that. I don't understand what they mean by canary. I mean, canary's bird. I don't understand what that means. But let's see what they say right here. So here we go. We got it back up. Here we go.
On paper, the economics look identical. TFR at 1.15, crisis level anywhere else, but still 60% higher than Korea's. Same overwork culture, same unaffordable cities, but the hardware is different. Japan had over a century to modernize, starting with the Meiji Restoration. Korea crammed the same transformation into 40 years. Imagine running a century of social change and fast forward. Japan also has no mandatory military service, carving prime earning years out of men. And it also has a deep cultural tilt towards harmony over open confrontation. So the pressure instead turns inward. Japanese men pioneered the herbivore status and hikikomori, quietly stepping off the provider treadmill. Women do something parallel, staying parasite single, living with parents into their 30s and 40s, prioritizing freedom over marriage. Roughly half of men in 18 to 39 are single. 4 in 10 women the same age are too. and Dr. Haruka Sakamoto, who co-authored the first nationally representative study of herbivore men, put it bluntly. The phenomenon is partly driven by socio-economic adversity. Men without stable jobs simply don't enter the dating market. It's mutual resignation, not mutual hatred. There's no 4B declarations, no deepfake arms races, no politicians driving the gender wedge. And in February 2026, one party locked in 316 seats, the largest single-party majority in post-war history. That's what sovereign policy looks like when young men and women aren't voting in parallel universes. And I talk more about it here. Korea's version of the same economic pain went public instead of turning inward. And when AFP journalist Ha Wan-jung surveyed single Korean men about what women should fix to be suitable marriage material, their number one answer was feminism. China is
Satanism. The number one thing. Many young men responded by blaming Satan of feminism. When a survey asked single men what would women fix most urgently to be suitable for marriage material, the number one answer was feminism. And I mean, it is true. It really is true. And, you know, feminism is inside of the school. It's inside of the educational system. And again, it's not all just one side's fault, but however, it plays a big part. It does play a big part because it forces a bottleneck society. You know what I mean? Like feminism forces a bottleneck society. It intentionally, the structure of feminism, what it does is it drives all the women, as everybody knows, the 80-20 rule. You already know what that is. The 80-20 rule. It drives it to be that because only, 20% of the men will have enough finances and resources to support 80% of the women. It forces that. That's all it does. It forces that. So then it just obliterates the other 80% of men who can't keep up, can't compete, can't do anything about it. So women will be okay with being with 20% of the men if they have the resources to take care of 80%. Women will be okay with that. So you can say feminism is the issue at a certain point, but at the same time, if women are okay with sharing, if 80% of women are okay with sharing 20% of men, then it's basically what you ask for and what you choose and what you want. So you're getting exactly what you are asking for because you're okay with it. You're okay with sharing one person as long as they got the resources to take care of you. It takes away their fear, takes away their anxiety, it takes away their survival thinking. They don't care exactly how they get it because remember, a man is supposed to love a woman and a woman is supposed to respect a man. She's going to respect that man if he can take care of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wives or 7 women or 8 wives and 15 concubines, whatever the case may be. So it's for the average man, feminism will be the issue. For the winning man, feminism is the greatest thing ever because he can have as many women as he wants because a woman can't say shit and complain because it's like, you can't do anything about this. I'm going to have as many as I want. There's not very many men like me in the top 20%, and I can just go out and slang Johnson all day long. And if you want to leave, go ahead and leave. Bye. But, time will always play a factor in the end of it. But let's keep going. We're almost done.
Material. Their number one answer was feminism. China is the other comparison I want to talk about.
In the bottom it says, in contrast, women describe men's view on sharing household chores as the key issue to be fixed and having sexist attitudes as the worst quality in a potential date. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Their number one answer was feminism. China is the other comparison I want to talk about. New marriages collapsed from over 13 million to just 6 million in a single decade. The pressure to marry came from everywhere. Social media, parents' matchmaking campaigns, all pushing the Shengnu label, which stands for leftover women. But Chinese women responded with quiet refusal. They just stopped showing up for the old script. And because China's internet is tightly managed, the conflict plays out differently. Quieter, more individual, less collective. The same gender tensions exist. They just don't escalate the way they do in Korea. So the economics are identical, and the outcome is completely different. And the reason comes down to 4 variables. Japan's pressure turns inward, quiet resignation. China's stay private, individual refusal. Korea's explodes outward, open political warfare. And the reason is a specific cocktail: compressed modernity, a military service asymmetry that feels like a tax on young men, an unregulated internet where resentment compounds in real time, and open democratic competition that rewards politicians who pick a side. That formula isn't unique to Korea anymore. The exact gender divergence, men shifting conservative, women progressive, cracked open in the US with 30-point gaps in 6 years. The same trends are happening in Germany and the UK. And the online escalation from venting to repeal the 19th follows the Ilbe to Megalia playbook almost beat for beat. Korea didn't invent the incentives that made partnership losing a bet. It just combined them with the accelerants that turned resentment into a war first. Asia is running parallel versions of the exact same simulation, and the West is queued up right behind them.
Conclusion. My conclusion would be to close them borders. If you come to a different country, assimilate. Dude, I don't believe in open borders, because I feel like that is what destroys a country, because then it takes away from the culture of what that country has. Then the country, this is my doggy, because then it takes away the culture from a country. Then the country no longer has a culture. And in other cultures, eventually, at some point, some culture is going to come in and be like, this is our house now. This is what y'all going to follow. This is what y'all are going to worship now. At some point, when you keep letting people in your house, somebody is going to run carte blanche in your place and going to be like, all right, enough of all this culture stuff. This is going to be the one that you all going to follow. Instead of having a culture, you're letting other cultures come in. Eventually, somebody's going to run your house. That's just normal. That's a normal thing. You know what I mean? It's like a culture of, like, you go to a country or island full of all women, and eventually at some point, some dude is going to come over there and be like, okay, I'm about to enslave and dominate all of you women and impregnate all of y'all. I'm going to do it. Or you have a island full of weak men that come in and sing Kumbaya together and are we don't want guns or we don't promote violence. Well, all it takes is one violent person to come over there and destroy all that. It's like, all right, well, I'm gonna be the violent one. I'm gonna dictate and take over everything. Yeah. So the borders are there for a reason. So when you take away the borders, now your culture is going to suffer, because now you don't have a culture anymore. That's the purpose of closed borders, is to protect the culture. When you open borders, you don't have a culture anymore. Therefore, your culture falls. It falls flat on its face, because the culture is usually upheld by some kind of either you would say religious or some kind of moral or virtuous stature. That's what keeps the culture alive. A culture usually is held together by some kind of morality. And then when you integrate the culture and start watering the culture down, then that's how it becomes demoralized over time, in my opinion. But let's see what the conclusion is and wrap this show up. Here we go.
At the top of the video, I said both sides think they're losing, and they're both right. Both sides are losing ground against the same structural forces: housing costs, career cliffs, military service gaps, and a political system that runs on conflict rather than resolving it. A generation of men raised to be breadwinners can't rent an apartment on one's salary, and a generation of women told education would set them free discovered a master's degree doesn't protect them from a career cliff the moment they have a child. Korea hit every accelerant at once and built a system that rewards picking a side. The US, Germany, and the UK are stacking the same ingredients right now. The data is clear about what's broken. Nobody's figured out how to fix the structure, And the gap between men and women who think they're getting cheated is widening everywhere. If you've lived in Korea or you're watching the same fault lines crack open where you're at, I'm genuinely curious what you think. At the top of the video, I said both sides think they're losing, and they're both right. Both sides are losing ground against the same structural forces. Housing costs.
Both sides are losing ground against the same structural forces. That is the highlight of this whole thing. Both sides are losing ground against the same structural forces. Exactly. The system is doing what it's designed to do. And now the system is doing this globally. It's just doing the same playbook, but it's doing this playbook that he just broke down. It's just doing it globally across the world. And the only thing, my humble opinion, is what I say people can do is focus on your fitness, focus on your body, focus on your mind, your spirit, your soul, and come together in small communities, build small, tight-knit communities, which is what the Matrix was. You realize the Matrix was a group of small, tight-knit people who came together, who believed in or semi-believe in what Morpheus was talking about when it comes to the prophecy or whatever at the end of it all. Like, he had a small knit group of community of people who all like still survived in the outside of the Matrix, outside of nature, even though nature in the Matrix was a horrible, shitty place to be in. But that's what it's going to take, because both sides are losing to the same system and they're looking for the system for an answer, but then they go off on individual paths and they separate from each other. But then that's how you divide and conquer. And we all know this. We all know this. We all know it's strength in numbers. We all know we work together when we are together, but it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And, you know, there's really not much you can really do at this point except choose to make the decision and hopefully finding, you know, the right mate or spouse or whatever and making it work, and not, you know, hitting that inevitable pole of divorce where then it's going to destroy both of you and your kids financially. So like I said, the Hopi prophecy was right. Michio Kushi, hopefully I said his name right. He was right for seeing this far out, even including AI in the process and both of their messages. They spoke on it correctly, and they said that the only way to get back is to get back to nature. The only way to override all this, to get past this, to get through this, to sustain life through this, is to just live and get back to nature, and don't take the man-made AI route. You know what I mean? You can utilize AI along your nature route as kind of like a yin and a yang, but you don't want to use it as like, we're going all in, we're going all out, because that route does have a abrupt end to it. So you got to stay the course and stay the nature, because like Mike Tyson said, you want to stay, you want to go home with the person that brought you to the dance at the end of the day when it's all said and done, because we all gonna die at some point. And regardless if you believe in an afterlife or what happens after this, life is temporary. We can believe in reincarnation, we can believe in whatever the case may be, it happens afterwards, but from what it seems like death is a lot longer than life, but we won't know until it happens. With that being said, man, I got to get up out of here. Hopefully y'all enjoyed today's show, man. We got to roll out. It was a minute before I was able to get on the show, man, but I want to thank y'all for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow with another video. Probably do one earlier in the morning instead of doing one late, but we'll be back on getting on every single day like we always do. Be ready for the next workout video to drop tomorrow morning, but we'll catch y'all later. We'll see y'all tomorrow on the next live stream. Take care, love you, and peace.
Thank you for watching D. Elliott Fitness live stream. Goodbye.
In the booth, slaying beats, I'd rather be in the studio than in jail or on the street. Talking the wrong, coming off your teeth. Got that one hit to quit and knock you off your feet. It's big art, baby, I'm awesome.